This is the story of Seo-jun, where he grew stronger by farming and evolving his pets by giving them his special juice, making them thick. Thick. What the? In the previous episode, we witnessed the hatching of our new queen bee. As soon as she hatched, she affectionately approved Seo-jun as her daddy and rubbed her cheek against Seo-jun's. Following this adorable moment, she met with the mommy queen bee, and they both had a wonderful time together. However, just before Seo-jun woke up, the baby queen bee flew away, leaving him bewildered. Afterward, upon sniffing and tasting the corn leaves from the Minotaur King, he went absolutely wild, feeling like he was experiencing the effects of marijuana. In his state of euphoria, he ordered Ox number 3 to go and find the person responsible for growing this magical marijuana plant, no matter what. Meanwhile, Theo had a brilliant idea after seeing two girls' phones where his photos were posted on Instagram. Now, Theo was looking at his Instagram profile where multiple photos of him were posted, and he had amassed 23,040 followers. Curiously, he turned to the big melon girl and asked if the two girls came to find him because they saw his images on an app called Instagram. The big melon girl explained that yes, and she apologized sincerely for uploading Theo's images without his permission. Theo continued to stare at the Instagram profile in complete silence, while the big melon girl stood there anxiously, worrying that Theo might be angry about the unauthorized uploads. Before she could say anything, Theo suddenly turned and exclaimed, "Of course she should be sorry. Why didn't she tell me something like this existed?" The big melon girl was taken aback, wondering how to calm Theo's apparent anger. However, before she could respond, Theo placed one hand on his head and struck a cute pose, extending one foot forward. He then handed the phone back to the big melon girl, instructing her to hurry up and start taking pictures of him to upload to Instagram. This unexpected reaction left the big melon girl utterly shocked and clueless about what to do next. Then Theo started giving multiple poses, ranging from cool and confident to cute and innocent, making it look like he was asking for help. He stretched both his hands, winked mischievously, and struck a naughty pose. The big melon girl continued to take picture after picture as Theo posed enthusiastically. After hours of taking pictures, even the big melon girl started melting at Theo's cool poses, calling them too cute and adorable. Theo told the big melon girl that she could do whatever she wanted with the photos of him once she reached home at bathroom. But for now, she should focus on taking more pictures. Finally, Theo struck a killer pose, raising both of his hands and winking his right eye. He announced that if anyone wanted to meet this cute and cool wandering merchant, Theo, they could find him on the 38th floor. He urged everyone watching the video to follow him on Instagram before coming to meet him. With a playful threat, he counted down from 3, 2, 1, and exclaimed that everyone should subscribe to the channel, or he would be mad at them, and today's goal was set at 5,000 likes, so please like and subscribe the channel. After the intense photo shoot session, Theo was heading back to Seo-jun, stretching his arms and feeling quite satisfied. He mentioned how the photo shoot went well, and how crazy it was that 23,000 people were now following him on Instagram. He wondered what would happen if even more people started following him and coming to him after watching the video. With confidence, Theo stated that he could already hear the sounds of hunters rushing to meet him. He planned to seize this opportunity to gain maximum rewards, and at this rate, he believed he could reach the chairman position in no time. Theo began to laugh, his cheeks turning red as he daydreamed about how he would command Seo-jun once he became the chairman. However, his daydream was abruptly interrupted as a strong gust of wind nearly pushed Theo back. He clutched his ears in irritation and demanded to know who it was. He had worked hard to straighten his fur, but now everything seemed ruined. Angrily, Theo turned around to find two giant silver-furred wolves, each standing at 5 meters tall with large claws glaring at him. Upon seeing the two giant wolves, Theo's face turned pale, and he quickly assumed a defensive position, looking terrified. But things were about to get worse for Theo. He heard loud footsteps behind him, and as he slowly turned back, he saw an even larger wolf than the previous two. This wolf stood at a towering 7 meters tall and glared at Theo with a deadly, serious expression that seemed to promise his imminent demise. Theo was too frightened to utter a single word, standing there with his mouth open, sweat covering his entire body. The 7-meter wolf smashed its giant claws beside Theo, shaking the ground. With an angry and fierce look, the silver wolf leader slowly brought its head closer to Theo, growling and displaying its sharp teeth. In a deep voice, it asked Theo if he was the wandering merchant who had bought the straw hat at the smithy in the merchant district. But Theo was so scared that even the slightest growl might make him pee himself at that moment. Theo, still shaking, finally gathered the courage to speak, though his voice trembled. He tried to say something, but the words were barely coming out of his mouth. Seeing Theo's unresponsiveness, the Silver Wolf leader growled loudly, using a threatening tone to demand answers from him. It addressed Theo as a puny cat and demanded to know where the straw hat he had bought in the smithy was now. The leader warned Theo that if he remained silent, they would tear him apart and chop him into small pieces. The other two wolves joined in, growling and menacingly threatening Theo. He was in a terrible condition, already scared out of his wits, and now he had started to cry. But then, something unexpected happened. Suddenly, a rock-like object flew and landed between them, startling everyone. From that peculiar stone, a foul smell began to emanate, filling the entire area. The silver wolves had highly sensitive noses, so the stinky smell overwhelmed them. They closed their eyes and blocked their noses to escape the unpleasant odor. Even Theo had to hold his nose, as the smell was too strong for him. From the midst of the smoky, foul-smelling cloud, a mysterious figure appeared, glaring at Theo. Suddenly, the mysterious figure grabbed Theo's hand, startling him. She introduced herself as Zerath, the newbie merchant whom Theo had helped before. Then she placed her finger to her lips, signaling Theo to remain silent. In the next moment, as the wolves were occupied trying to cope with the smell, Zerath, still holding Theo's hand, started running into the jungle. Theo followed her with a surprised expression on his face. As the smoke screen slowly faded away, the wolves noticed Theo and someone else running. Seeing this, the wolf leader shouted at them to stop, warning that things would not end well for them. He hurriedly ordered his subordinates to follow and capture them no matter what. However, the two subordinates were lying on the ground, holding their noses and shouting for help to escape the stinky smell. They felt like they might die from the odor, leaving the wolf leader standing alone, holding his head and wincing in discomfort. This time, they had failed to catch Theo, and their mission had failed due to that mysterious figure. The scene then shifted, showing Theo and Zerath standing in the middle of the jungle, trying to catch their breath. Theo was still panting heavily, while Zerath let out a sigh of relief. She mentioned that they wouldn't be able to chase them for now, at least. Theo, with a worried expression, thanked Zerath, stating that something terrible would have happened to him if it weren't for her. Zerath replied with a smile, saying it was nothing, as Theo had also saved her once when she was in trouble. It was only natural for her to help Theo in return when he was in trouble. Hearing this, Theo happily started patting Zerath's shoulder, saying she is the nicest person he has met in the tower since his first crush. However, he added that he's a changed man now, a Giga Chad, and they should remain best friends, nothing more. Then Theo asked Zerath if she liked grilled fish and suggested they could go for a little walk. As they talked for a while, Zerath, seeing that Theo had become a little more comfortable with her, asked if Theo would be kind enough to give her some guidance on how to become a great merchant like him. Theo prepared his bag and replied that it's no problem at all. He will definitely guide Zerath, and they should go now, and with that, Zerath thanked Theo. Then, as they walked together, Zerath suggested to Theo that they should head to the merchant district, and she knew the best shortcut to get there quickly. However, Theo replied that first, he needed to go to the merchant guild and apply for a promotion to become a first-class mid-level merchant. After that, they could go to the merchant district and enjoy grilled fish. Hearing this, Zerath was genuinely shocked, and in her astonishment, she held her mouth and exclaimed, "Did Theo say first-class, mid-level merchant?" She then asked in a surprised tone how Theo, who was just a low-level merchant when she last met him, had reached the level of first-class mid-level merchant in just 1 month. Moreover, Theo had been a newbie only a few months ago. Upon hearing this, Theo maintained a neutral expression and asked Zerath how she knew that he was a newbie a few months ago. Zerath realized she had revealed more information than she should have and started to panic, realizing that she couldn't afford to be caught as an agent of the Wandering Merchant Secret Police Force, or her mission would not be completed. Then, Theo folded both his arms, looking suspicious, and asked Zerath why she was acting strangely and seemed suspicious. Zerath, trying to maintain a neutral expression, attempted to explain that it wasn't what Theo was thinking. But before she could say anything more, Theo shouted in anger, calling Scarum a bastard, and revealed that Scarum had divulged all the information about Theo when they first met. Bewildered by the situation, Zerath replied that yes, it was indeed Scarum who had shared everything about Theo without being asked for it. Hearing this, Theo became even angrier and started cursing Scarum, vowing to teach him a lesson when they met. Zareth, on the other hand, felt relieved that Theo appeared to be innocent and easy to manipulate. Then Zareth, with an innocent face, asked Theo how he managed to gather 1,000 tower coins in such a short period of time. She mentioned that it was an amount she couldn't even imagine making in her entire life as a low-grade merchant. She was curious about what Theo was selling to earn so many tower coins. On the flip side, Zareth felt a little worried. She wondered if Theo would be willing to share his trade secrets. She suspected that there might be someone very powerful behind Theo, providing him with premium products for trade. She believed that this item could be very dangerous or even illegal. If she found out about this item, she planned to arrest the backer first and give Theo a lighter punishment, as he seemed somewhat innocent and manipulated by the mysterious backer. Then Theo, with an innocent face, replied, "I sell cherry tomatoes, Naya." Hearing the words, cherry tomatoes, Zareth first stood in her place in a state of shock and surprise, trying to process what she had just heard. Then, with a puzzled and surprised expression, her mouth open in disbelief, she asked, "Is Theo trying to say those round little red fruits that thing?" Theo confirmed by saying, "Yes, it's the exact same thing." Theo then attempted to check his bag to find a cherry tomato, but he had sold them all that day. He promised Zareth that he would show her what a cherry tomato looked like the next time they met. With that, Theo started moving forward, suggesting that they should go, as the giant wolf might return if they stayed in the same place for too long. Zareth remained in a state of shock, her mouth still open without saying anything. Finally, Zareth came to her senses, pondering how in the world Theo could have earned 1,000 tower coins by selling nothing but cherry tomatoes. Was Theo lying? However, he didn't seem like the type of guy who would tell a lie. Zareth continued to follow Theo, her serious expression revealing her determination to unravel the mystery of how Theo had made 1,000 tower coins by selling mere cherry tomatoes. Meanwhile, outside the tower in the gourmet company, the CEO was holding a D-grade cherry tomato, observing it closely. He decided to taste the cherry tomato, maintaining a serious expression, and commented that this cherry tomato indeed tasted more delicious than the E-grade one. Then he turned to see a person slowly placing a cherry tomato plant full of cherry tomatoes on a table. The chairman inquired if there was any good news, and Jenny, with a smiling face, replied that as he could see, the seed they planted from the E-grade cherry tomato had grown into a normal cherry tomato plant. The chairman, gazing at the cherry tomatoes, expressed that he had expected as much as the item was from the tower, making it impossible to grow on Earth. He then inquired about the progress of the farming project on the first floor, to which Jenny confidently replied that they had already sown 100 E-grade cherry tomatoes on the first floor, and 10 plants had already germinated and were ready to harvest. Hearing the chairman's words, he became genuinely happy and praised Jenny, acknowledging her hard work. Jenny, in return, credited the chairman for making it all possible. The chairman mentioned that he had already hired top-grade hunters to protect the farmland on the first floor, and once they successfully grew the cherry tomatoes, he would become the richest man on Earth. Meanwhile, Seo-jun was busy harvesting the cherry tomatoes, with the queen bee sitting on his head. All his rabbit friends were helping him, unaware of what was happening outside the tower. So the episode ends here. Comment part 31 in the comments, and thanks for watching.